just hate him. Like, if I could, I would just unalive him. I would get rid of him. I would run him over with my car. I absolutely hate his guts because of what he did to me, because of what he did to the kids, about how he's destroyed our entire family, about how he keeps going over to that other woman and he doesn't give a shit about us. I absolutely hate him. A lot of people, when they've been with a toxic person, have a high level of hate for the other person. Some people are like, hate's a strong word. No, some people like hate. And hate's a good word for them because that's what they feel. Because the anger and the resentment is boiled up to such a level that they wish that other person would fall off the planet because they have so much hurt. They have so much trauma. They've been through so much. Their heart has been broken and shattered so many times. The only thing they can turn to in that moment is just, I hate this person. I just want him out of my life. I just want him gone. I just wish he no longer was, because the pain that I'm dealing with him is so real and so visceral. I just don't know what to do. It's a hard road when we start talking through this piece of how do we actually work through the resentment and the anger, the bitterness at times, that will leave you with a toxic person floundering and struggling and wondering, how do you even heal from it? The anger piece will continue to consume you. It'll continue to break you down, make you feel awful. The resentment piece will continue to have all of your focus on him. So while you don't want to think about him, you're so resentful and hateful towards him, he's still the only thing you think about. And what I want you to consider is, with the anger and with the resentment, if it produces constant rumination and thinking about the toxic guy in your life, you still lose. Like, there's not an option that you win of being like, I'm going to hold on to my anger and my resentment and I'm just going to stew in it. Okay, well, what does that look like for your healing? What does it look like for your growth? It doesn't. All it's done is it's left you stuck. Practically the same exact way that you were in the relationship. You're just out of the relationship and you're still stuck. Because you're still angry and resentful and you're still thinking about him 24/7 so many times. So the question inside of here is like, how to let go of the anger, the resentment. In letting go, we have to bring up a word that is popular and unpopular at the same time. And when we bring up the word, don't turn me off and don't go to the next video. We'll bring up the word that's simply the word forgiveness. Stay with me. Part of you just got off. Forgiveness is a touchy subject because people are like, wait a second, if I forgive him, that means I'm telling him that what he did to me was okay, and it was not. And that's not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is not you telling the other person it's okay that you hurt and used and abused me. That is not acceptable, that is not justifiable, and that is not allowed. So let's get that very, very clear. Forgiveness is not you telling the other person or accepting the abuse and saying, it's okay that you abused me. We're not saying that. So if you're hearing that, rewind the tape, listen to this again. Because I'm not saying that it's justified. I'm not saying that it's acceptable. I'm not saying that it's right. And I'm not saying that when you forgive that you say, hey, it's okay. Because it's not okay. It definitely 100% is not okay, because what it causes is years of trauma that you have to work through, that you have to reframe your reality, that you have to rewire your mindset, you have to break down the lies and the stories you told yourself, and you have to invest a lot of time and energy and money into your developing you simply because of the stuff that he put you through. So I get that. And at the same time, I need you to understand that forgiveness is needed for you to heal. If you do not forgive, you will not heal. Now, come back to forgiveness before we lose you. And forgiveness is not your acceptance of what he did. It is not your validation or your justification or your willingness to say, hey, it's okay that you abuse me. That is not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness in this context is the mental release of the emotional hold that he has on you. Let's repeat that. Forgiveness is the mental release of the emotional hold that he has on you. It's a mental process to start off with. It means mentally, you are going to learn how to practice this piece of letting go. It doesn't mean that you have to go to him. You have to say, hey, I forgive you for abusing me. We're not saying that at all. So please stop in your tracks. Come back to reality. We're talking about this piece of letting go. Letting go of your anger and resentment. If you do not let this go, it will consume you from the inside. You will stay in the pit that you're currently in, and you will not heal. So many of you are there like, yeah, I'm angry. Awesome. You're still losing. Now, let's move past the anger and start focusing on your healing. And you have to do this inside of letting go. Letting go means we need to dive into forgiveness. Letting go of that emotional hold that he has on you. This means releasing. Saying, I am not going to let this affect my day. I am not going to let this keep me in victimhood. I am not going to let this leave me stuck. But instead, I'm going to grow and develop who I actually am, no longer letting the past define me, but letting the future actually describe who I actually want to be. So this forgiveness piece ends up being letting go. Letting go of what? Letting go of the emotional hold that he has on you. You see, anger is a powerful emotion. It is powerful. It's not the most powerful emotion, but it is a powerful emotion. And part of the reason it is powerful is because it's self-perpetuated inside of you against another person or against another circumstance or against another thing. Yes, other people do stuff, but it still comes from inside. It's not like this other person took anger, put it inside of you, and you're like, oh, now I'm angry. No, he did something, it sparked anger, you're angry, and you put it back on him. So in order to be able to fix this, we have to release the anger because otherwise it's going to consume you from the inside out. Then you wonder, why am I burning down to the ground? Well, it's because of the anger and resentment that you're not willing to let go of. Now, it's difficult because a lot of times I would find people stuck in toxic relationships consumed with anger and resentment after the relationship. And if they were not willing to let it go, they never healed. They would come back a month later with the same conversation. 6 months later, same conversation. A year later, same conversation. They'll be like, I just can't figure it out. I'm just stuck. I hate his guts. And then they start telling stories. I'm like, it's great. I understand. You want to tell stories. You want to be heard. You want to be validated. But at the same time, if you don't make a difference inside of your life right here, right now, nothing matters and you're going to stay stuck. We talked about this in a video earlier. You have to have movement to create this motivation, to have momentum in your life. If you do not have movement, nothing else matters. Well, right now, you don't have movement if you're angry and resentful. Is anger a stage inside the grief? Yeah. But it is not a long-term campsite. It's just a pass-through to be able to get to the healing that you actually want to get, to be able to be at the place that you actually want to be, to heal, to grow, to develop who you are. But we have to be able to release the emotional hold that he has on you because he has an emotional hold. You're like, he doesn't control me anymore. I'm free. And tell that to your mind. Tell it to your thought process because you can't let him go. So if he's still constantly on your mind, he has an emotional hold on you. And if you're telling yourself right now that you're free, but you can't let go of the anger and resentment, hate to break it to you, but you're still trapped. Because he still has an emotional hold over you without being in your life. That is the power of a narcissist because it controls your mindset enough that you start to beat yourself up just as much as he did. You start to limit yourself just as much as he did. You start to control yourself just as much as he did. And as a result, you're out of the relationship 1, 2, 5 years, and you get to the place and you're like, I'm free, but I still hate him. Are you really free? Do you actually know what freedom is? Because in my world, freedom is not that. Freedom is when the woman looks back at me and she says, guess what? I haven't even thought about him in 3 months. Freedom is when he comes knocking on another woman's door and she tells me, hey, I didn't open the door because I knew I wasn't supposed to. She said, I didn't open the door because I didn't care to. She wasn't devoid of feelings. She didn't shut off her emotions. She simply learned how to release and how to let go of the anger and the resentment that previously had held her hostage and held her stuck. And if you don't do it, you start to put yourself in your own prison, in your own cage, and you build the bars with anger and resentment and irritation and frustration and annoyance and all these things that build the cage around you, and you hold on to the cage and you're like, but I'm free. You're not free if he keeps being stuck in your head and stuck in your mind to a place that you have anger and resentment that still controls your everyday life. It just means that he's learned how to manipulate you on a whole nother level because he's still in your head, emotionally, mentally holding on to you because you refuse to let go. And people get this way and they'll be like, but I want to be right. That's great. You can be right and be stuck, anger and resentful and trapped in a cage, or you could just let go and find freedom. You letting go and finding freedom doesn't mean that you're wrong. It just means that you're not trying to prove craziness. You're not trying to justify. You're not trying to prove to a toxic person that, like, nope, I am right. I'm angry at you and I'm waiting for vengeance to come. People get this all the way with the karma question. When does the narcissist get their karma? I don't know. When do you get your healing? People like, that came across aggressive. It felt a little aggressive in the moment. Because I'm tired of people that stay in victimhood. You work with me, you don't stay in victimhood. Doesn't mean I discredit or I devalue your experience. It means I'm not willing as your coach to leave you stuck. But my job is to help you see how you can break the bars and actually be free. Because if you have anger and resentment in your life, you are no longer free. You've simply created another cage. Another cage for you to be stuck behind. Another cage for you to be trapped in. Another cage that says, you're free. Just think on him every single day. The mindset piece is the wildest thing that we have to work on, because if we don't transition the thought process, reframe what you're actually seeing and thinking, you'll start to think that what you're seeing and thinking is part of the healing process, when in reality, it's just building you into another box. My job is to break you out of that box. To help you stand in your freedom. To move from being trapped and stuck as a victim to having freedom to be the woman that you're called to be. If this resonates with you, then go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough today.
You've been told it's all your fault, and that makes you feel crazy. No one understands you, and that leaves you in a place of being alone. You've tried to break free multiple times, and that leaves you helpless because nothing you've done has actually worked. It hasn't actually got you free or liberated from this toxic relationship. So you feel crazy, alone, and hopeless. Guess what? That's a lie. Because all it is how you've been raised and conditioned inside of this abusive relationship over and over. And as a result, you've sacrificed your growth, you've sacrificed your worth, and you've been trapped inside of a toxic relationship. What if I showed you the path to freedom? A way for you to actually get free mentally and emotionally from the toxicity that's happening right here, right now. You deserve more. You deserve to be able to heal. And I want to help you with that. If I can help you with that, go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough. Schedule a call there and let's talk. Have you ever felt like no matter what you're trying to do, you're always the one trying to hold it all together, to keep the relationship functioning? Like you're fighting for something, but it doesn't even seem like he cares about the relationship, that he cares about you. And it oscillates back and forth. 1 minute he tells you that he loves you. Next minute he's pushing you away. 1 minute he's acting like everything's fine and the family's great. And the next time he's treating you almost like you don't even exist. You feel like you get to the place that you're the one that's the only one that's trying in the relationship. And deep down you might start to wonder, does he even want me here? Does he even love me? Does he even care? The answer really quick is just no. But it's not in the way that you think. Because I want you to understand that the truth is that there's a version of him that wants you to leave. He doesn't just want to be the one to end it, he wants to make sure you do it. He doesn't want the responsibility. He doesn't want to look like the bad guy. He doesn't want to deal with the consequences of what's going to happen if you walk away. So instead of him walking away like a normal person, he makes you do it instead. He makes sure that you are the one that he pushes away, that you are the one that he drains and slowly wears down until you can't take it anymore, so that you finally leave. And when you finally get to that place where you take the time and you leave, he flips and he plays the victim. He looks at everyone and he tells everybody in a sad face that he tried. He acts like you gave up. He rewrites the story so that somehow he's the one that got hurt because you abandoned him, you left him. And if you don't see it happening, you will walk away, blaming yourself the entire time. That's exactly what he wants. He wants to have you confused. He wants to have you lost. Today I want to break down how narcissists push you to leave and why he refuses at the end of the relationship to end it himself, and how the patterns keep you stuck in the cycle that's designed to actually destroy you long term.